I'm Kelly,
I'm David.
and this is Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause from 2006. Yeah, that sigh pretty much sums up, I think, both of our feelings about this movie.
You wanna be a part of it, North Pole, North Pole. You snooze and you lose. So come here to play. Here at the very heart of it, North Pole, North Pole. Come.
But we kind of knew it was going to be terrible going into it because you can't really expect a third installment in a okay movie to be really good.
What was the okay movie?
The original one.
Oh.
That one's fine. Like a standalone, it's fine. A fine Christmas family movie by itself. But they really didn't need to make two more. There's no reason to.
Yeah, there was really no reason to make this movie.
But well, there was a reason. But
Yeah.
So the synopsis is, Scott Calvin invites his in-laws to his Yuletide festivities, but the holidays take a chaotic turn when Jack Frost puts the big freeze on Christmas. Now, unless Scott can get his job back, it's going to be a very glacial Frostmas all around the world.
I don't really know that has anything to do with the movie.
Well, I mean, it
Kinda.
does. Yeah. That's like the crux of the whole thing.
I guess.
But so it actually, when I looked up who directed it, it kind of makes sense because he's only directed TV episodes of really bad TV shows.
Yeah, it seems like this is really this guy's first, makes sense with them doing this for money because that guy was probably really cheap.
Well, I don't know because he was a TV director on Friends for 5 years. So
I don't think that really matters.
But yeah, he only ever directed television shows. He never directed. His name was Michael Lembeck. But so you have Tim Allen and Martin Short playing the two lead characters, and then you have appearances by Alan Arkin as the grouchy old father-in-law.
Yeah, so you've got a guy who, he doesn't like Christmas. Maybe that's because he's Jewish. I mean, that could be,
I didn't even think about that. But
one big problem with that is that you don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, and then you have just randomly his ex-wife's husband, Judge Reinhold from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which he was in the other two movies also, but I was just surprised he did this movie again. I guess he has nothing better to do.
Yeah. I always like him in most things, so.
Yeah. I thought I had seen this movie, but nope, I've only seen the second one. I have definitely not seen this movie.
I would imagine most people have not seen this movie.
Oh, well, you would be surprised. Actually, a lot of people have seen this movie. The movie had a $12 million budget, and it made globally $110 million.
Oh my god.
$110 million.
Why?
I don't know. And I was looking through the IMDb, and it said won 3 awards, and I was like, no, but it's all Razzies for worst actor and worst couple and worst movie.
Yeah.
So it's pretty bad. And it's not even bad in the same way that like those 70s or 80s Disney movies are bad. Those are still fun. This is just like bad.
I don't know. This still has its fun-ish moments, but it's not fun in the way that those are fun. This movie is very stupid.
So what is your initial overall thoughts about the movie?
This movie. Seriously.
Yeah, it's real bad. Like I don't know. It just felt like a very like made for TV movie almost, but it definitely wasn't.
Oh, but the quality was way too high for a made for TV movie.
You thought the quality was good?
The quality of the film, the quality of this and that. There was too much of it. The sets, like the factory and stuff, that was all way too nice for a made for TV movie. It was too much.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I really didn't like it. But basically the movie opens up and Mrs. Claus is teaching like a elf school or something.
Oh, yeah, because I guess she used to be a teacher in one of the other movies.
Yeah. And then there's like a flashback to where she's super pregnant, and that's like the story is she's like having a baby, but it's like a false alarm. And then basically like it's right before Christmas, and she's all like, "Oh, I miss my family."
Yeah. I hope I don't deliver while you're delivering.
There was definitely a lot of one-line puns in this movie.
This movie is super corny.
In a manner that is both willful and malicious. Excuse me. Did you just accuse me of being skillful and delicious?
Yeah, but not even in a good way. Like
No.
And then Santa decides that he's going to bring them up to the North Pole, but he has to change everything to be Canada because apparently she told him he's a toy maker in Canada.
Well, they can't let the secret of Santa out, the SOS.
Oh, right. Even though his family knows all about it, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't quite get that. Maybe that's explained in another movie also as to why his son lives with his ex-wife.
Well, I mean, it's her son, too.
No, I know. I get it.
But, yeah, the first movie, they, like, it's, like, right after they got divorced, and, like, his son, like, goes with him when he becomes Santa Claus, and that's, like, a whole thing. But yeah, she's like, "Oh, I miss my family," and then he's like, "Oh, bring them up here, and we'll just make it into Canada." A? There was a lot of that.
There was a lot of A's, yeah.
And then there's a meeting of the fictional council characters or whatever with like the Tooth Fairy and Father Time and Mother Earth.
So stupid.
And then you have Jack Frost, he's the villain, Martin Short's character, and he's gross.
It's gross. Martin Short does a really good job of being him.
Yeah, but I've never really found any of Martin Short's roles to be super annoying, and then this one is super annoying.
It's annoying. It's written poorly. I mean...
It's so bad.
Okay, chill.
I invented chill!
And he's basically upset because he wants to be Santa Claus. Like, he's like, I want to be in charge, and I want to be famous, and I want to be whatever.
Yeah, he just wants to be a bigger deal. I think he would try and take anybody else's position who's more well-known than him.
Yeah, and, it's just strange. And then they're having their meeting to decide, like, his punishment for his behavior. And then they give him, like, oh, you can help Santa. Even though you've been trying to...
It was his own idea.
Yeah, even though you've been trying to undermine him this entire time, which I'm just like, that's a critical error right there.
Yeah.
Not a good idea. And then they, like, casually mention this escape clause thing, but they don't really say what it is.
Right.
During the meeting. And nobody really knows what it is.
Well, I think they all knew, they just wouldn't say.
Yeah, except for Jack Frost didn't know. But
Yeah,
I'm like,
he
why would
didn't
he
know.
be if all these legendary figures are on this council, why would he be the only one that didn't know?
They were like, oh, if you came to a meeting every once in a while, maybe you'd know.
Oh, right, that's right. So he's like, I'm a bad boy.
Yeah.
But then basically they are, so he's supposed to help Santa, and then Santa goes to see his family.
Yeah, first.
Yeah. Complete with reindeer farting because Comet had too much alfalfa.
Right.
Which
boy, was that stupid.
So stupid.
Like, I think, did they do that in the first movie?
No. Not that I remember.
I feel like one of these had, like, a bunch of reindeer farting.
I don't think so.
You could maybe get away with it once, but, like, that was just so dumb.
It was like 5 times.
But it's great for dumb kids. Like, dumb kids, I think, would love this movie. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
You mean, like 2-year-olds?
No, just dumb kids.
I don't know. It's so bad. But yeah, then, like, it's okay for his family to know about it, but not...
They already knew. I mean, they knew. Like, he got to fly his sleigh there and park it. Like, no big deal.
Yeah, and they sorry.
Anywho.
So, yeah, because they already knew from the first movie, but then his niece, that's not really his niece because it's like
not
his
niece
ex-wife.
at all. It's
no.
his ex-wife's daughter.
And I'm like, that's not a thing.
I guess it's a way of doing it, being like, oh, here's your uncle, blah, blah, blah. If you're really going to have your families be that close, Which I don't know anybody that's like that. But
No, not at all. But then you have, in the meantime, Jack Frost is like trying to get the head elf to tell him what the escape clause is, and he does because he's stupid.
Well, I mean, these are all just slave children elves anyway.
But they're not really children, though. They're like hundreds of years old.
Right.
And so basically the escape clause is that you hold your snow globe, because apparently every Santa has a snow globe, and you say, I wish I was never Santa at all.
At all. Which I feel like that would have come up in the first movie when he wanted to be out of it. Wasn't that a thing, like he really didn't want to be Santa Claus?
Yeah, no, I think in the first one he really, really didn't want to be Santa Claus, but they were like, oh, too bad, you're stuck here.
Yeah.
Like, nothing you can do about it. So it kind of it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But then he goes to pick up his in-laws with Father Time.
No, with the Sandman. Sandy.
Oh, Sandy, right, sorry.
Mr. Sandman.
Right, Sandy. Who, like, puts them to sleep.
After they're arguing about Yosemite.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just awkward.
It was tiring. And then, of course, that goes right into the scene of them in the thing.
Well, Santa's got a hot rod. 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 It's the only way he can rock and roll that old Christmas sleigh.
Santa's got a hot rod.
Yeah, which was the only, like, one of the only songs in the movie.
And it's just so lame and so Tim Allen, and why Tim Allen is so just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, this is
the movie you choose to do.
And this is like where you're always going to have like something about a hot rod or something about how bad to the bone you are.
Oh.
It's like his whole shtick, and it's so lame.
I guess he probably had a say in that.
Yeah.
And then
it sounded like it was him singing it, but I don't think it was.
No, I don't think so. But then they in-laws see their daughter, and she's super pregnant. Her dad's like, oh, it looks like it could be twins. Like, you're super fat.
Oh, and it looks like you're way too old to ever have children.
Yeah. And your husband is like a grandpa. And, like, it was just strange because, like, they wouldn't think it was weird at all that there's all these, like, children running around, running everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that wouldn't, like...
Oh, Canadians are just small.
Yeah, like, oh, you've never been to Canada? This is just how they look, eh? And I'm like, no, that's not a thing at all. And basically the next, like, seemed like 10 or 15 minutes of the movie is just them going to different parts of the factory and, like, Jack Frost going around and, like, messing stuff up.
Sabotaging everything, yeah. It was just the wackiest, stupidest crap you could think of him sabotaging things, which, if you were Santa, that would be where your mind went to immediately, is that you've got that guy running around your factory and he's probably causing these problems that you never have.
But no, that's not what's happening.
That's doesn't even come into the whole thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever like, I wonder if it was that Jack Frost guy that hates Santa Claus.
And then, like, I don't know, the whole time... Anytime
sorry, go ahead. Remember when, during the sabotage scenes, for some reason and somehow, the stepdad ended up with a fire extinguisher and put out the fire?
I'm like, how did you get that? And it's, like, not even putting out regular fire extinguisher stuff. It's like a greenish, bluish goo.
It basically looks like... Yeah, like,
and he's
grease.
like, oh, this is normal? Like, no problem. Yeah, how did he get that?
Yeah, where did he come up with that? How did he know how to use it? Like, it just was like, what? So, which makes you think that they cut, like, a little scene that explained that, but no.
Probably not. But then, like, another part, they're like, oh, let's go see the delivery room, like, where she's supposed to have her baby, and it's, like, all in shambles, and he freaks out. He's like, I'm gonna fix this. Get me an apron and a tool belt or something.
Well, if you remember, when we met him, he was planing down the edge of a door.
Oh, right.
So he's Mr. Handyman, Mr. Fix-It guy.
Yeah. And, like, anytime that Martin Short's character, Jack Frost, was, like, pretending to be Canadian, I was like, oh, like, is this offensive to you because you're actually Canadian?
Yeah,
like...
yeah. Hey.
Or does he think it's funny? I don't know.
I can't imagine he thought that any of this was funny, because he's generally a pretty funny guy. And this is like...
I wonder how much they had to pay him
This
to
is
do
like
this movie.
well, obviously not very much if their budget was only $10 million.
12 million.
Or 12 million. So they didn't pay him that much. I mean...
No. And...
Maybe he just likes working with Tim Allen. I don't know. His stupid magic. Like, oh, I got an idea.
Yeah. And then he decides to take his niece to the Hall of Snow Globes, and of course Jack Frost secretly follows. He's like, haha, I'm being bad.
Yeah.
And like, it was, well, one part that was kind of confusing to me was, that just didn't make sense, was when they were in there, every time she went to like touch a snow globe, it would like float away. So why would it not do the same thing when Jack Frost went in there? If it's not his snow globe, like how was he able to touch it? Do you know what I mean?
There's no explanation for that.
It just didn't really make any sense.
Did anything in this movie make sense?
No, and you know what the biggest thing that pissed me off about this movie, like almost, like let me just say something. And this, like, okay, so the lady, Mrs. Claus, she's all upset because he's so busy and he has to deal with all this stuff, like, at Christmas. Lady, you married Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Like, this is the life that you chose. And it's like some of these people that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my spouse is so busy at work during their busiest time of the year, and they're going to be all mad.
My next note right there is the bitch is ungrateful.
But really, though, like, she's all like, oh, I'm just so sad, like, that he can't spend time with me. And it's like, well, this is literally like 2 days before Christmas.
Right, like, I'm sorry you got pregnant in March, like,
maybe you guys should have planned better.
Yeah.
And then, like, Jack Frost freezes, like, the little girl's parents.
And for some reason doesn't freeze her, which...
I know, but just locks her in there,
locks
in
her
there
in
with
the
them.
Cupboard, yeah.
And then he... Oh, like, Santa, like, knocks over the tree, and then he's all sad, everything is terrible.
That made them all fight because something...
Yeah, because they're like, you need to stop working so much, because,
Yeah.
you know, you could have just told them what you did at the very beginning, and that would have solved all these problems. Or here's an idea, send her to go visit them.
Or, you know, he could have just been a busy working guy, and sometimes on Christmas he's going to have to work, and you're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, kind of.
Have your Christmas on the 28th instead.
Yeah. And then Jack Frost, like, had wrapped up the snow globe secretly, and he, like, tricked Santa into saying the thing.
The words.
Which brought them back to 12 years ago or whatever. And then I'm like, why does he also get transported back with Santa? That's what didn't make sense to me.
It's like he grabbed onto him or something. Like,
I don't know. It didn't make sense.
There's no actual, like, rules to this world. So...
No, because he gets transported back, Jack Frost puts on the coat, and then he's Santa, and it flashes forward to what life would be like if Tim Allen's character was never Santa, but then he wouldn't have remembered any of it, though, if that was the case.
That's what you would think, but apparently he remembers everything.
And he wouldn't remember his wife because he meets his wife in the second movie. He would never have remembered her at all.
But he doesn't remember... He doesn't remember what just happened in the last 12 years of his real life.
Well, that's what I mean. It didn't make sense. He's like, oh, let me go see my family. And then, like, everything is messed up. Like, his son's, like, a rowdy teenager. And his ex-wife got divorced, you know, because of... Apparently his son was difficult or something.
Well, which makes sense. That makes more sense than them being friend couples in the whole movie.
And then, like, basically Jack Frost has turned the North Pole into a amusement park about money.
Into Disneyland North Pole.
And I mean, really, that was the most realistic part of this whole movie, is that...
It felt very real.
That Christmas is all about money and presents and...
But that felt like something that Disney could open up. Like, it really felt like a Disney park. To me.
Well, but... I mean...
Lots of elves to help you buy Santa t-shirts, Santa ties, lots of rides, so much to do, and comets in the petting zoo. But what is best of all? What's the best of all? You'll meet Santa. Come meet Santa.
The show is starting soon. Don't
I mean, maybe,
it's
but
like,
not so much.
Buy stuff like. Blah, blah, blah,
well,
blah.
that's probably true, but
I mean, it felt like it to me, without the rides.
Yeah, it was just that was like the most realistic part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then there's like this pen. But then Tim Allen's character goes there and he gets like this pen that records you talking And I was like, oh, he's going to go get the snow globe and trick him into doing it, and he's going to play it, which isn't really him saying it, so I don't know how that works.
Well, he
it's a
said
recording.
it.
I don't know, but it was pretty obvious what was going to happen, and then he got the little girl, Lucy, who at first was like, I hate you, and then she's like, okay, I'll do what you say.
Okay, weird, charming man who comes to sit next to me and say, oh, I know your secrets, little girl.
She's like, oh, okay. And then again, they go back in time because he says the thing on the pen.
Wait, you're skipping over one of the stupidest parts.
Oh, wait, the song?
The show and the song of the one-man Santa show of Martin Short just...
The New York, North Pole and
North Pole,
North Pole.
Like, that whole thing is just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I tried to, like, forget that. I think I wrote that down, but I think I wanted to forget it because it was so awkward.
It's so bad.
Even the little elf kid who was, like, playing the piano was like, no. Like,
All of the elves looked miserable in the whole movie in general, but they looked extra miserable during that scene.
Yeah, which I think was the point. I think it was supposed to be like that.
I don't think that the elves were supposed to look miserable through the whole movie, though, and they really did.
Yeah.
Which I think was off-putting because they were everywhere in this movie. Are these sad children? Like, what's wrong with you kids?
Yeah. But yeah, she gets a snow globe, and then they go back in time. Again, somehow Tim Allen's character goes with him, gets you latched onto him, and it's back at the scene of the first movie, and he, like, stops him from putting on the coats, and then everything's back to normal.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh my gosh, my wife. And then just decides that to tell the in-laws that he's Santa Claus.
Yeah, oh, to hell with it.
Yeah. And then they arrest Jack Frost by the Elficers.
The Elficers.
The Elficers. And then probably the worst part about the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have to unfreeze the parents. But in order to do that, Jack Frost has to unfreeze himself. So the little girl gives him a warm hug.
And melts his heart.
And
They
then
said
all
it
is
couldn't
well.
be done. And now what does that make Jack Frost? Like, what is he? They, like, turned him into... Basically, he looked like an elf at that point.
Well, I think he's still Jack Frost, but I think he's, like, good Jack Frost
But why
now.
did he have elf ears?
I don't know. Well, he has elf ears. Like, look on the picture there. Even when he's evil Jack Frost, he kind of has elf ears.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
It just... The movie was just bizarre.
Yeah, and then that she has the baby.
Yeah,
His name is Buddy Claus.
Yeah, Buddy Claus, which I thought they'd go for a better pun, but...
Well, especially since Buddy the Elf from the movie Elf, like, also came out relatively recently to this movie. You think they would pick a different name for a Christmas character?
You mean with the
Elf,
movie
with
Elf?
Will Ferrell, yeah.
Okay.
His name is Buddy.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I don't think they care about that.
But,
that whole... After they do the Santa thing, though, Alan Arkin's acting was really just...
Wait, what Santa thing?
After they told him who he was...
Oh, yeah.
There was some pretty bad acting.
I think he was doing it on purpurpose.
I kind of do, too.
Yeah, I think he was 100% doing it on purpose. But, like, I don't know why I signed up for this, but okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was like...
Well, and then at the end, like... I kind of was like, oh, like the Easter Bunny was like hitting on the mom, and then
Anne Margaret, yeah,
and then he was like hitting on the Mother Earth lady at the same time, and I was like, ew, this is creepy.
On Lana, he was hitting on Lana.
Oh yeah, because it is Aisha Tyler. That's right. Yeah.
Lana. What?
Lana.
Yeah.
That, and honestly, okay, so the best part of the movie was the end because
it was over.
Well, it was over, and the bloopers when you see Tim Allen not acting and just being himself in those bloopers, he's so much better. He's so much better as himself, not trying to act. Because when he acts, he just puts on this really, like, unbelievable facade, kind of corny-ish, weird facade that doesn't work for me ever.
Yeah.
But when he's just himself, then I'm like, oh, I kind of like him. I kind of see the appeal.
Yeah.
But man, when he acts, it's just
bad.
It's always made my skin crawl. Like, from Home Improvement up to now. Like, but his stand-up, like, it's okay. Like, it's him.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the bloopers. I think I was trying to like not. I was trying to like, oh gosh,
I just kind of noticed. I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason that he's popular.
But so when it came to deciphering my favorite part, I don't have one. I really, really did not like this movie. Did you put? I wrote none too. I wrote none.
I wrote NA.
I hated all of it.
Yeah.
It's like there wasn't really even. I thought, oh, like the snow globe part where they show all the snow globes floating. That was kind of
No.
cool. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because then I had a
No.
problem with the fact that she couldn't touch them, but the other guy could. And like
It just wasn't good. Period.
yeah.
The cinematography, like I said before, I thought was pretty good.
But even this, like the special effects made it just cheap, and not good.
I didn't notice too many of the special effects, so maybe that's what that says.
Yeah, I didn't like it. But then, as far as songs, I mean, they had a couple of Christmas songs, but they had the Santa's Got a Hot Rod song we already talked about.
Yeah.
And that was about it. I mean, the cinematography was just...
It was fine.
You thought it was good. I thought it was bad.
I just said fine. I just
Yeah.
wrote fine.
I wrote bad. The main character, Santa, who was Tim Allen, who won an award for the worst actor.
Easy to believe.
Yeah.
Very easy to believe. His costume making him like big and fat is weird.
But
Because he's such a small guy in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, it's because like Martin Short is tiny and he's barely taller than him, but somehow it makes him look like he's jacked.
yeah.
Which is just weird.
Yeah. No, it's... Santa Claus is supposed to be fat and whatever, and like it's just...
But I mean, it looks like he's jacked with a gut instead of looking like just fat. Like, it's really weird.
I don't like it. And then the villain, of course, is Jack Frost, who ends up being a good guy at the end. But I already said I thought he was creepy. I didn't like it. I didn't like him. Just overacting, annoying. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Are there any other characters that you wanted to discuss?
Do we want to talk about Curtis?
The elf?
The main elf?
Yeah.
He was one of the better parts, and it was still bad. It was so poorly written.
Yeah, because, like, I remember in the first one, like, the main elf actually had kind of a good personality. And it was, the guy who plays him, I think, is the guy who plays, I think it's Oscar Isaac. It's the guy who plays Poe in Star Wars. I think. But his character was actually kind of, like, had a good personality, and they just had better characters in the first one. But, yeah, he was just kind of like a little brown-nosing, rule-following, unoriginal, uninspired.
Bean
yeah,
elf.
just like total stereotype, uninspired, no
but
originality.
Isn't an elf supposed to not be like that? Like, that's what I thought. I thought was weird.
You mean they're supposed to be just like
more fun and whimsical?
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's the whole point is that they're saying like all these elves have personalities and all that stuff. So
okay.
And then as far as like his family, like his ex-wife, Neil, Lucy, like they're all just whatever, not good. And the story overall was just
stupid,
just weak. Like they were trying to give the message of like this is what Christmas is really about, but there's much better Christmas movies that convey that message across better than that. But
I thought the message of the film was just family is important.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great.
Well, and I mean, really my only thought I took away from this, especially after learning how much money that they made off of this movie. I mean, they made like $100 million off of this movie worldwide. Like, it was literally just about money. That was the only reason they made this movie.
Yeah.
It was just a money grab.
Yeah.
So,
you don't think they did it for the art?
What art? The art of seeing how many Razzies they could win?
Yeah.
They won like 3 of them. So, I don't know. It was all bad. But, do you want to give your rating first, or should I give mine? Or do you have anything else you want to say?
Fuck this movie.
Because I'm curious whose is lower. Mine's pretty low. I think mine is going to be lower than yours.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
3.
3%?
Yeah.
Oh, I put 8%. I really thought that yours was going to be like higher than mine, but you said 3%.
What is there to like about this
I
movie?
don't know. Like,
The
I mean,
only
I thought
thing-
8% was pretty low.
The only thing I can say, though, is, once again, if you have kids, they will like this movie. They will watch it. If you have dumb kids that are 4 to 12 or so, especially the dumber they are, the more they're going to like this movie because it's for dumb people.
Yeah, it's not great. It's bad. But what did Rotten Tomatoes give it?
Let's see.
Okay,
Oh boy.
so what's the Rotten
So
Tomatoes?
that's kind of right. Rotten Tomatoes is 17%.
That's real bad for Rotten Tomatoes.
The audience is 39. So there are people that like this movie, like I
Oh,
said.
Sorry if we've you. No, we're not really. 'Cause
No,
we
we're
both
not
hate
sorry.
it.
So I don't think there's anything else left to say about this movie.
No, I want to get it over with. I'm done. I would have rather watched the terrible movie we watched last week again than watch this.
You'd rather watch Monkey's Uncle again?
Yeah, maybe we'll get the original this time. Oh no, I'm scared. This part is so scary, and you get to see it before I do, so I feel left out.
Well, I don't know if I really get to see it before you do. I just get to
Ooh, okay, so what's our number?
228.
Ooh, okay, so still fairly new. Actually, that's kind of right in the middle.
Yeah, that is in the middle.
No, I don't like your face.
Well, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Your face looked like it was like the second Santa Claus or something. What? Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? I don't like it.
Inspector Gadget.
Oh, okay, I've seen this.
I have not
No,
seen it.
okay, so, well, but you've seen the cartoon.
Well, okay, no. So here's the problem with this is I love the cartoon.
Oh, you're gonna hate this then.
Oh, I know.
But
there's a reason I haven't seen it.
So I saw this in theaters with my dad.
That makes sense. You were
I was
10.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. What year did this come out?
like 1999.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 10, so I saw it in theaters with my dad. And I believe it has Matthew Broderick in it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. But I actually don't think it's that bad from what I remember. Like, I think it's very watchable. But I could be completely off base. I don't remember. So, we'll have to find out next week.
Yeah. So, this has been At the Disney Movies
With the Hearts.
with the Hearts.
I'm Kelly.
I'm David.
Bye.